Happened on October 21st, Friday. Let's get into each game. The first game is the New Orleans Pelicans beating the Charlotte Hornets 124-112, starting off the season with 2-0. This team is going to be scary this year. They made the playoffs last year without Zion. So all the young stars, they get another year. And with Zion back, if he can be fully healthy, they can maybe go to the second round or maybe possibly to the conference finals. Who knows? West Conference this year, I think it's pretty wide open. Brandon Ingram, great, 28 points. I mean, he's been adding defensive stats a little bit as well. Beginning of the season, some offense might be a little bit sloppy, just throwing the ball around. So the defensive stats are always nice, but I don't think he can keep it up. But in terms of the counting stats, totally doable, really, really good. 11 for 11 from the free throw line. If you drafted this guy around the top 50, like 50th spot, you're getting your money's worth. Pretty good stuff from him the first two games. Zion struggled a little bit, well, in a major way, but it doesn't really matter. They still win. 7 for 19 from Zion, 2 for 4. Yeah, he's gonna have some free throw issues. But look at Valanciunas. I think we gotta use this opportunity to sell high on this guy. If you can do a 2 for 1, get a top 30 player, 100% do it. It's try to get Karl Anthony Towns. Maybe Valanciunas has been crazy good. 11th ranked player, averaging 23 points. I just don't think with Zion playing the full season, he's gonna keep up with this. And 13 for 14 from the free throw line. He's not that good of a free throw shooter. But 17 rebounds is he can grab a lot of rebounds, but lack a little bit defensive stats. Herbert Jones, mainly just defensive specialist. Had 2 blocks. So it's a kind of Matisse Thybulle kind of guy, but he is getting 32 minutes. But with all the guys healthy and playing, he's just not gonna have a lot of shots. Like he took 3 shots this game. So if he pops off one game 100%, this is exactly the type of play you want to do a 2 for 1. CJ just doing CJ things, 21 points. And the Pelicans bench, really, nobody's really worth picking up at the moment with everybody healthy. For the Charlotte Hornets, Kelly Oubre Jr. is also a guy you can, if you want to get some points and threes, you could stream him until LaMelo Ball comes back. Then we see what's going to happen with the rotation. Mason Plumlee, you could stream this guy as well. 8 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. For some big man stats, can't complain with this production in 18 minutes, and he was in some foul trouble. I think the first game he played 30 minutes. So always a good guy to stream, and we'll see what happens when LaMelo Ball comes back. And they lost Miles Bridges. We don't know if this guy, he's got some domestic violence issues. We don't know when he's coming back or coming back at all. Gordon Hayward, really good, 26 points. I would also use this to try to sell high. The first couple games with the LaMelo Ball, he's playing really well. Same thing with Terry Rozier, took 24 shots. Terry Rozier, if I can get a top 30 player, I would 100% do it. He's getting drafted pretty high, like in the 4th round. Without LaMelo Ball, he struggled a little bit. He had 11 assists, which is not going to happen when LaMelo comes back. And the bench guys, Nick Richards, Jalen McDaniels, in the early season, really, it's I think the other guys with better upside than these guys. They're getting some minutes without LaMelo, but who knows what it's gonna look like. All right, let's go to the next team, the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs beat the Pacers 130. What a crazy game, 137-134. And the Spurs guys, Trey Jones, I think he's a must roster. Looks like he's the starting point guard and getting 30 minutes a night. So. Most point guards in the NBA, if you're starting, you get 30 minutes. Unless you're playing like next to some really ball-dominant players as a point guard, you're gonna get some assists, right? He's gonna add a little bit steals. So he's a must roster. Devin Vassell obviously a must roster, but over here, like the stats look good because they scored 137 points. I think Devin Vassell, like ranking wise, also I think a lot of people are hyping him up. So I would do a 2 for 1 if he goes off. He played really well here. So I will use this opportunity to sell high. Jacob Poeltl is going to do his things. You got to think about free throws when you have this guy. 13 for 21. They were just hacking him this game. But, really just a traditional center. Absolutely no threes. He does provide a little bit of assist. And who is this guy? Jeremy Sochan, 21 minutes. This guy came out of nowhere. I'm not sure who he is. And then Josh Richardson coming play 20 minutes. Also played really well. But Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, and Trey Jones, those guys are absolutely must roster. And then the rest of the guys, not so sure. We'll see if things might change with the Spurs. But they are tanking teams, so we have to keep an eye on this because this roster could change a lot once we get to the end of the season. And for the Pacers, why are they starting Chris Duarte and playing him 50, 60 minutes and gave 30 minutes to this guy, Andrew Nemhard? He had 30 minutes. I know Benedict had a pretty good game last game, also played really well, but I don't really trust these two guys, to be honest. So if you have them, try to do maybe a 2-for-1. Because Buddy Hield and Tyrese Halliburton, they were both in a little bit foul trouble, one with 5 fouls and 4 fouls. Otherwise, I think those guys are going to play 30 minutes. Tyrese Halliburton probably plays 35, so some of the young guys just not going to get that many minutes. Buddy Hield actually played really well too. Just in 25 minutes, he had 5 fouls, 3 threes, had 2 steals in the block. If Buddy Hield can average over 1 steal a game, his ranking will move up pretty significantly, I think. He just lacks defensive stats, but huge volume of threes. Jalen Smith, I don't know what they're doing. Miles Turner is going to be back. So are they going to play Jalen Smith? How many minutes? Because he was getting drafted in a lot of leagues as well, pretty early, in like inside the top 100. So what are you going to do? You just have to hold him for a few more games just to see. The minutes are all over the place. Isaiah Jackson was getting drafted out of the leagues. In just 60 minutes, he didn't have enough damage. That just tells you if he can play 30, which I find it hard. There's no backup or anybody else competing for the minutes. He just fouled too much, too aggressive. That's how he get those defensive stats. But he did have 16 points as well. So absolutely no defense being played. And Miles Turner, what is this guy doing? When is he gonna be back? That's the thing. If you're a veteran on a tanking team, it's like when you get hurt, there ain't no rush to bring you back. Let's go to the next game. The Bulls lost to the Wizards. Wow, Wizards, are they 2-0? Not sure, but it's a good win. DeRozan used this opportunity to sell high on DeRozan to get a top 20 or top 30 player. I think the first 2 games he's averaging over 30 points. He's a 14th rank. Oh my God, 35 points a game, 7.5 assists, 6 rebounds, 1.5 steals, 0.5 blocks, and 56% shooting. Zach LaVine is out. When he does come back, DeRozan is, so do a 2-for-1, try to get a top 20 player. Yeah, Patrick Williams, not really doing much, so we can leave him on the waiver wire. Vucevic hit us his free throws, but his field goal, man, what is going on? I just remember every time I look at his stat, he's like shooting 30-something%, like 9 out of 10 games last year, and this year the first 2 games he did the exact same thing. I don't know what's going on with him, but he's still doing other stuff. Alex Russo, you only really want him for steals. He had 3 here. That's it. 3 steals and maybe a little bit of assists. And Ayo Dalsamu had a huge game first game. Sure, you could have him as long as Zach LaVine is out. But I'll look to trade him. To either trade him or might move on somebody once Zach LaVine comes back. I don't think he's gonna get this many minutes. And Kobe White got 31. Yeah, let's not talk about Kobe White. He's not good. Not really fantasy relevant unless like 3 guards gets hurt, then he might be getting 35 minutes and he's worth grabbing. For the Washington Wizards, Danny Advia, my God, what a game! 10 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal and block. I think we should take a fly on him, or looks like he could be getting consistent 30 minutes and he can do a little bit of everything: threes, rebound, assists, steals, blocks. He's got size, so I'll be looking to add him honestly. Kyle Kuzma, yes, just doing Kyle Kuzma things. He's like the number 1 option on this team. He just shoots a lot, 16 shots. But his fantasy game, I think we know who he is at this point, points and rebounds. Kristaps Porzingis, as long as he's healthy, no complaints. And Bradley Beal, 36 minutes, yes, and only took 14 shots. And one thing, Beal was like a first round a couple years ago, averaging 30 points. He's not going to average 30 points, maybe 23, 24 points realistically. But another thing that drops off is like his three-point attempts. He only took 2 here. Maybe he'll go up, but this is something interesting to look at. He's just not shooting as many threes. At 8 assists and 2 blocks, which is okay, still good. I think he's a top 30, top 35 player still. And if he can get his 3 volumes up, then he can move on. Monty Morris, just 26 points. I don't think he's a must roster. His fantasy game just not that. He's efficient, but just doesn't really make you jump off the chair. So the upside is not really there due to his fantasy. Just even given the minutes, he's just not doing much. The next game, the Orlando Magic lost to the Atlanta Hawks, but oh my god, the number one pick, Paolo. 33 minutes? Yeah, didn't shoot the ball well, 6 for 18, but my god, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, and still in 3 blocks. I want to say, try to sell high on this guy, but you should be aiming for like a top 30 player. That's how I would do it, because he might just be top 50 this year. It's only 2 games, so a lot could still happen, but he looks really good. But I would still try to sell high on him. Do a 2-for-1 and see if you can get a top 20 player. Maybe him plus somebody to get a struggling first rounder. Who am I thinking of? Just try to go for those. Or a top 15 player. Well, Kyrie is kind of struggle, but maybe try to get a Kyrie, maybe try to get a Kawhi Leonard. Even though those guys are pretty injury prone, not bad. Maybe Joel Embiid is struggling, yes. Maybe Pavlo plus somebody that's the first, like DeRozan plus Pavlo for Joel Embiid. That's a possible. If you got those 2 guys, that's like the 2 guys that are thinking like the good sell high. I don't think he's gonna keep up with this. We'll see. I don't think he can get this many defensive stats either. But I think he will cool down. Wendell Carter Jr. did his thing, sure. He shoots a lot of threes, missed every single 3-point attempts. So, sure. Terrence Ross not really fantasy relevant. And Jalen Suggs, I think, got hurt again. And then you have Cole Anthony coming off the bench. And then Markelle Fultz is going to be back. So what is the Magic guard rotation going to look like? I have no idea. But if Jalen Suggs is going to be out for a while, I don't think we need to hold on to him. Just let him go, because Markelle Fultz is going to come in, Cole Anthony. So all these guys, they're going to come in and take some minutes. And how much upside does he really have? And Terrence Ross is going to get some minutes as well. So, but we can't drop out Kiki. We can't drop Mo Bamba. They're not getting over 15 minutes a night. They're not. So we should all let them go. Mo Bamba is really worth grabbing if somebody gets hurt, because we know what he can do in 30 minutes. And look at the Atlanta Hawks. Another surprising good game from Devontae. I mean, I still think he's a sell high, but maybe I didn't watch any Hawks game. I don't know how he and Trae Young can both get 10 assists a game. And he had 4 steals again. My God, 7 turnovers is kind of bad, but really, really good stuff from him so far. Trae did his thing. 25 and 13, no defensive stats. Yeah, Trae Young, the biggest thing is his lack of defensive stats, but counting stats really good. Points and assists and threes. Clint Capella played 31 minutes. Okay, I know Kungu only getting 16, so look at that. But I think moving forward, if Clint Capella gets traded, Kungu is obviously a must roster. But as long as they're both playing, they're both healthy, they kind of eat into each other's minutes a little bit, because if they're playing well that night, especially Kungu is playing well. Like, he's just gonna get more minutes. John Collins played a great game actually, 23 and 13, 3 steals in the block. For him, but a lack of defensive stats. Rebound efficiency pretty good. DeAndre Hunter, 12. Yeah, he could be a streamer for points and threes, but that's about it. But you should, if he's like your worst player, you should try to see what's on the waiver watch and possibly grab somebody that's really good. Let's go to the next game. Okay, finally, the Nets, they were able to win this game. 105-109 at home. It would be embarrassing if they lost, That's a really bad start to the season. And look at Pascal Siakam, 37 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists, 5 for 9 from the free throw line. Okay. But as the good thing about Raptors, I think we all know at this point, is that all their starters get 35 plus minutes. So all of these guys are must rosters, right? And for Gary Trent Jr., the main thing with him is how many steals is he going to get. We know he's going to shoot threes. We know he's going to score 16, 17 points. But it's really the steals. He had only 1 here. And Fred VanVleet, what a game. 9 assists, 4 steals and a block. Maybe uses the opportunity to sell high on this guy, because people perception of him is he was getting drafted in the 2nd round. So if you get a top 20 player, I absolutely would, to get a Fred VanVleet. He's actually, holy shoot. He's the 3rd ranked player right now, because he's averaging 4 steals. Okay. If I can get a top 15 player, I would do it. I would do it. The guys I would target is probably, if Jason Tatum is struggling, well, he's playing well, right? Really well. A Fred VanVleet plus another top 50 player for Joel Embiid. Obviously, they provide very, very different categories. But, oh man, he's only averaging 0.5 turnovers. My God. A lot of his value comes from his steals, which is could be very volatile. Scotty Barnes, 17 points. just good stuff, man. And same thing with OG. You don't see any zeros with these two guys. Like it's pretty fun if you got both OG and Scotty bombs on your fantasy team, and just see them going to work. You know, both guys are really good. You know, Raptors, they get a lot of defensive stats, so good. But because every starter is getting 35 minutes, there's really not much to talk about other than possible sell highs, because you know all the other bench guys, they're not really fantasy relevant. And look at Brooklyn. KD played. Just put up KD numbers. Not much to talk about. Kyrie, good bounce back. 30 points, 7 assists, and a block with 5 threes. Good stuff. If he continues to struggle, try to battle on him, and I think he's going to have a great year. He's not going to miss too many games, I don't think, even though he never really played over like 65 games a season. But it's not going to be like last year. Royce O'Neal, great stuff. 2 steals and 2 blocks. He could be a defensive streamer, but he's the type of guy that's going to get thrown out a lot. Like, a guy picks him up, drop him. Some other guy picks him up, drop him. Some other guy picks him up. So he's gonna be on every single team. I feel like he's having another one of those. Last year was pretty much the same. Claxton, great stuff, but free throw is a huge issue. If he pounding free throw, I would try to look for to try. Like if the owner who has him now is frustrated with his free throw, I would throw some offers at him, because I think he's should have drafted this guy a bit early, you know. But he's getting 30+ minutes, putting up double-doubles and a lot of defensive stats. Ben Simmons, look at that. 2 blocks, 10 points, 8 assists. Okay. If you're pounding points, threes, and free throws, same thing. Like you get Ben Simmons who give you a lot of assists and steals. Really valuable. Like if you can pair him up with Draymond Green, it's like your team is pretty solid. If you pounding points and threes, of course, and the free throw percentage. Joe Harris, I think eventually he's gonna start getting more minutes. We don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's go to the next game. The Boston Celtics beat the Miami Heat 111-104. Celtics, okay, 2-0. And look at Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. So good. Jaylen Brown is also good, but I think Jaylen Brown is probably sell high, to be honest. Jaylen Brown is a sell high. Where is he ranked? Oh, okay, he's 8th ranked and Jason Tatum is 9th. Unbelievable stuff from both of them. Well, Jaylen Brown is shooting 60%, and he's not a great free throw shooter, and so far this year he hasn't missed a free throw. So expect those to go down quite a bit. If you can, again, gonna keep talking about Joel Embiid, because he's a guy that's, I feel like, really, the first 2 games people might overreact because, oh, Harden is playing so well. What's gonna happen with Joel Embiid? Joel Embiid is gonna be fine. So I would do maybe right now Jaylen Brown plus somebody to get Joel Embiid. Jaylen Brown really is if you're pounding free throw, he's a lot more valuable. But other than points and threes, he does provide a little bit of everything else. But all the other stats, the volume is not that huge. Maybe I'm hating on him, but if you're not pounding free throws, you should try to really sell him to get a Joel Embiid. That would be perfect trade. Right now, Al Horford played 30 minutes. That's encouraging, but didn't really do much. And Derrick White had a bounce back, being only 24 minutes, but 7 rebounds, 3 blocks, and 10 points. And Malcolm Brogdon played 25. So him and Derrick White, they're just playing 25 minutes each. If one of them gets injured, the other guy become like a must roster. But in 25 minutes, I don't think either guy is worth must roster, because too inconsistent. One guy might play more today, and then the other guy might play more tomorrow, depending on how they play. Marcus Smart did his thing, no defensive stats. But yeah, it is kind of crazy. Marcus Smart was getting drafted super early last year, and really he just provided some assists and steals, and the steal numbers are also pretty high variance. But in certain team builds, he could be really good. Like if you just need a little more boost on your assists and steals, he could be perfect piece. So it depends on whose team is he on. He could be super valuable or be kind of useless. For the Miami Heat, why did Jimmy Butler play? I'm gonna get some water. But why did Jimmy Butler play 40 minutes? I guess they really needed him to. At least he's healthy at now. Alright, at least he's healthy for the first 2 games of the season. Let's see if he can keep it up. Caleb Martin, sure, he's been getting like 25 plus minutes just a streamer. If they got a back to back, yeah, you need some defensive stats, some threes, some rebounds. Sure, you can go for him. Bam, 19 points, 2 steals, 5 assists, 8 rebounds. But Ben, since last season, he's not getting that many assists first of all, and he's not getting that many defensive stats. So I don't know. Let's see what he does. It just hasn't been that exciting, to be honest, so far. And last year too. Tyler Hero, respect. If he can get in 2 blocks, he can get you some steal and some blocks. He's gonna be great this year. 25 points again, and I think this year, he really is going to take. He's starting, right? He's gonna kind of like the first offensive option, I would say, because he offensively he can do everything. Unlike Jimmy Butler, he can really shoot on the outside. So looks like he's gonna have a good year. Kyle Lowry, if he continues to play well, sell this guy. I think if you had Kyle Lowry over the last couple years, you know, at this age and on this team, he's responsible. He doesn't have to do too much, right? Especially in the regular season. So it's like he might just give you 3 points and 4 assists one game, right? 17 points this game is obviously really good. So another guy that I'm trying to get rid of 2 for 1. If you drafted him, and if you drafted him high, you gotta use it at the beginning of the season, right? It's like it's your time to try to trade. And look at the New York Knicks beating the Detroit Pistons 130-106. I think Kate Cunningham is a huge buy low right now. But again, depends on your team, depends on your category. He hasn't played that well the first 2 games. Even though this game, like 15 points, 7 assists, 8 rebounds, and 2 steals is like pretty good. But right now he's 104th ranked player. His counting stats is like super good. It's just he's got some efficiency issues. And if your team loves that, you should pay a pretty high price for him. Jaden Ivey surprisingly played really well again. 9 assists and 17 points. He is eating into Kate Cunningham's fantasy stats just a little bit because he did have 9 assists. That means that he's running the offense quite a bit. So that's going to impact Kate Cunningham's assist number a little bit. It's just 2 games. We don't know what's going to happen, but he's also a sell high in my opinion. I don't know. Just because I haven't seen enough, we don't know what's going to happen because the next game he could just, next month he could just be, you know, really bad. But as long as he gets 30 minutes, we gotta roster this guy. And Jalen Duren had a great first game, but the problem with him is the minute cap. He plays just 23 minutes. He's not gonna play 30 minutes unless Isaiah Stewart gets injured or something. That's the issue. But I think for now, in just 23 minutes, he grab you rebounds and some blocks. If you need those, sure. But you might need to hold on to him for a long time before he actually gets consistent 25 to 30 minutes. It might be a while. It may not happen this season. Isaiah Stewart played well. 10 rebounds, a steal, and a block. I mean, 1 for 4 from the free throw line is not good, but for his standard, played pretty well in 30 minutes. Bogdanovic, 18. Yeah, he's just a points and threes guy, and Sadiq Bey played well, but again, another points and threes guy. A little bit one-dimensional. And then we'll look at the New York Knicks. After a tough loss, they bounced back, 130 points scored. RJ, okay, 18 points. And Julius Randle, what was that? He played just 25 minutes. It was a blowout. So credit to Tom Thibodeau. It's like the game out of hand, giving the minutes to Emmanuel quickly, Obi Toppin, Derrick Rose, or Cam Reddish. So spread the minutes around a little bit. And Mitchell Robinson still got 22 minutes. That's good. And Isaiah Hartenstein, he played 40 minutes last game. He played just 21, and had 4 personal fouls. But I think we have if you have this guy, just keep him. If you don't, I don't mind picking him up. And just to see how the minutes go. Because if he just gets 25 minutes, if him and Mitchell Robinson just split the minutes, 24-24, I think Isaiah Hartenstein is going to be inside of 100, maybe even higher, depending on how many blocks he gets. And he gets steals as well as a center, which is pretty rare. So I would be interested to just have him, even though he only played 21 minutes. Still put up an okay line, 11 rebounds, 2 steals, and a block. That's not bad at all. Let's go to the next game. The Memphis Grizzlies beat the Rockets, 129. No defense was playing on this day. Look at John Morant. I would use this to sell high. Try to get maybe a top. Again, gonna use your Embiid. Target those first round guys. You know. And Ja Morant, every season, I think that in the last 2 seasons, he always start off really, really strong. And then he gets hurt, sprain his ankle, something happened, and his dad took a big dive. It's really the health reasons, the way he plays. He always gets injured middle of the season, and after he comes back, he just kind of take a step back. But what a game from him. Really good stuff. And John Conchar, 3 steals and a block, 3 threes, 17 points. Dylan Brooks is going to be back, but I'm just going to hold on to him till Dylan Brooks comes back and see how many minutes he play. If Dylan Brooks take all the minutes, sure, drop him, right? If he plays just 20 minutes. But if he plays like 28, 29 or high 20s, maybe just keep him for a little while and see how things go. You don't know what's going to happen, right? If he plays well, who knows? Desmond Bain struggled again, maybe a little bit by low right now. He's really struggling with his shot, but did everything else. 3 threes, 5 for 5 from the free throw line, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. All those are pretty good. And Santi Aldama, 31 minutes, didn't have the best shooting night, but he is a must roster. Until JJJ comes back, then we see what happens. But my God, he's putting up some great numbers. He's a top 50 player, you know? He can do everything. And then look at the Houston Rockets. It is getting a little bit ridiculous, but good thing is Bruno Fernando got hurt. So they kind of have to give Shanko more minutes. But look what he did. 23 points and 12 rebounds. A steal and 2 blocks. 4 for 10 from the free throw line is tough. It is very tough. But we see what he can do, giving him the minutes. And I think if you panic a little bit with the Fernando injury, I think you get a sign of relief a little bit, because Şengün should be getting close to 30 minutes a night, and he will put up numbers. Efficiency is his main issue, but if you pounding free throw, I'm loving this guy on my team. If I'm pounding free throw, if you pair him up with guys like Giannis, Doncic, although Doncic has been a great free throw shooter this year, but yeah, like if you pair him with Giannis, your counting stats is crazy good. Kenny Martin Jr. came in and played 24 minutes. Okay, we shouldn't worry about him. And Eric Gordon, what are we doing? He's still getting the minutes. Yeah, Jabari Smith had a rough game, 3 for 14. Just hold on tight to him. I think he's going to be fine. And Jalen Green played both pretty well. I mean, Jalen Green shot the ball well this game, 33 points. He's going to score a lot of points and threes. It's about the defensive stats and assists and how many times he goes to the free throw line, because he's a decent free throw line shooter. That's going to determine his fantasy, but I feel he's gonna average, I think, close to 25 points this season. Yeah, Kevin Porter Jr. also played well, but 2 for 4 from the free throw line is not ideal with 3 turnovers. But hey, you draft this guy, you know what you're getting yourself into. The inefficiencies. All right, let's go to the next team. The Jazz got their revenge in overtime. 132-126. What is going on? And the Jazz this year, they got a lot of players that can just, Kelly Olynyk had like some foul trouble the first game, 35 minutes. I would use this opportunity to sell high on him. Some people might see him as a top 40 player. So right now, beginning of the season, after a player have one good game, people are gonna either overvalue them or undervalue the players because the sample size is too small, right? Same thing with Vanderbilt. I would look to sell high on this guy because we don't know by the end of the season, because they want to develop the young guys, right? Same thing with Mike Conley. If he plays well, what is he doing on this team? 11 assists is really good, 2 assists, but what is he really doing on this team? Probably going to get traded. Mike Conley is most likely get traded because, what are we doing? Laurie Markkinen, I feel good about because he's kind of young guy and they should be develop him and he should have a lot of usage. Really good game from him. Took 23 shots, yes. But Kelly Olynyk, I'm not too sure. Vanderbilt, I'm not too sure. Because Vanderbilt, maybe, what's the rookie's name? Might start coming and play more minutes. And Colin Sexton, if you drop this guy, it sucks. It kind of sucks. They're not giving him the minutes. Jordan Clarkson, this game had 29, popped off. So I'll be okay just letting Colin Sexton go, to be honest. If he get 30 minutes on this team, we know he can score a bunch, but that's about it. He was never like a multi-category guy. It's just the points. He also doesn't shoot a lot of threes either. And Malik Beasley, you could always stream him for threes, but that's about it. And we look at Timberwolves. Yes, Cat, thank you for taking 25 shots. He's another guy that you should look to for Bilo the first couple games. And he's not going to be as good as he was the years in the past because Rudy Gobert is there. He's going to grab a lot of rebounds. So his rebounds are going to take a big hit, but maybe he can focus more on the offensive end. So maybe his offense will improve. But this game took 25 shots to get 27 points. That's not really good. And I think his block might also go down a little bit, but he should still be a top 15 player. So if he continues to struggle and his ranks is around the top 50, but do a 2-for-1, try to get him. Jaden McDaniels had a crazy amount of defensive stats. This game, just one block. So if you sold high on him, congrats, because he's not that consistent getting the defensive stats, to be honest. And D'Lo and Anthony Edwards both played fine, I think. D'Lo has had a pretty good start. Let's see if he can be healthy this year. That's the worry. All right, we got 2 more games. The Denver Nuggets went to the Chase Center and able to beat them 128-123. Really good win. Michael Porter Jr. did a bit of everything. Had 5 personal fouls and 5 threes. Really, really efficient. Can't complain. Aaron Gordon missed all the threes. Yeah, not the biggest Aaron Gordon fan. I don't know. For some teams, if you don't care about efficiency, you can have it. Jokic, just Jokic things, a triple-double, really good stuff. The defensive stats will come. And Bruce Brown, without Jamal Murray, sure. He's a guy we could stream. He can provide a lot of stuff. And KCP played also pretty well. But mainly just a threes guy, really. I don't expect him to score 17 points all that often. And Bones Highland is another guy that has a lot of hype coming into the draft, but so far he hasn't been getting minutes. So if I got him, I'm not going to sit around and wait. I would just move on from him. I would just drop him. Who knows when and Jamal Murray is out this game. He only got 20 minutes. And we look at the Warriors. Curry just continue to play great and play 35 minutes. That's the most important thing. And look at Klay Thompson. 23 minutes. Jordan Poole, 27. So I know Klay Thompson and Jordan Poole, they were getting drafted in the top 70, top 80 in a lot of leagues. If any one of them plays well, I look to sell them because they're like really situation dependent. And Klay Thompson just not getting the full 30 minutes. I think Steve Kerr still kind of want to go easy on him. And I also think probably a sell high on Steph Curry as well. I just think the Warriors are really, really deep. And there's no point playing Steph Curry all that. Especially if they're playing some weak teams. In the fourth quarter, if the second unit is playing well, they're not going to send Curry back up right away. Maybe he come in once the other team makes it around. So just situations like that. Because they have so many guys they play. How many guys they played? They played everybody pretty much. Wiggins is the one that's going to get a lot of minutes. So he should be pretty consistent. Draymond Green, what a game from him. 13 points, 9 assists. One of his best games as well. Kevon Looney didn't play that much. But Kuminga, Dante DiVincenzo, Moses Moody, I think they're going to earn Steve Kerr shots and get more minutes as the season goes on. And I think guys like Curry, Draymond, their minutes going to go down a little bit. So I'm not bullish on any of the Warrior guys. And Jordan Poole, if he gets minutes, we know he can do damage, but how often can he get that? It's going to need some injury and tanking. Sorry, not tanking. Injury and minute management for Clay or whatever. All right, let's talk about the last game. The Phoenix Suns went in and lost. Well, close game. Lost to Portland. That's not fun. And Mikal Bridges had 13 points. That's good. 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Very well run game. But for him, I'm just mainly looking at his defensive stats because that's what he needs to be a top 40, top 30 player. Cameron Johnson, he's also getting drafted in a lot of leagues. Played just 22 minutes because who would have thought that Damian Lee would take his money, right? He played really well versus the Lakers. Again, he had 5 fouls. So this is a little, Cameron Johnson looks like he's not locked in with 30 minutes every night, which is a little bit concerning. So I will probably look to trade him. If next game, let's say he played 30 minutes, plays really well, I will look to trade him because I know sometimes Damian Lee is going to get a lot of minutes. Some games. DeAndre Ayton absolutely went off. Sure, good stuff. 1 for 3. I want a little more rebounds from him. And Devin Booker, just a pretty average Devin Booker. 33 points is nice, but for him, it's about how many times he goes to the free throw line, how many threes and assists and steals. Points, we know he can give us that. Chris Paul, wow, 5 steals and 12. Chris Paul is a 2-category guy, assists and steals. And he give you a bunch of those. And super, super efficient at the same time. And again, like if you are in punting points, upon threes, having Chris Paul is godlike. It fits your team so well. Cameron Payne, yeah. Damian Lee got 30 minutes, but I don't think he's fantasy relevant. So the rest of the guys are not really, yeah, not much to talk about. And then look at Portland Trailblazers. The first game, Damian Lillard struggled a little bit, and look at that, 41 points. Damian Lillard is back. He's the first rounder. He's a top 6, top 7 guy. If he struggled the next couple games, aim for him. Do a 2-for-1. People, because you might be able to get him cheap because people thought of him last year, right? So that's some risk that I'm willing to take, because to me he's a top 7, top 8 player, and if you can get a top 30 DeRozan plus somebody to get him, that's a huge win for your team. Anthony Simons played 42 minutes. My God, he's gonna get a lot of minutes, but his usage is a concern. He needs to figure out how to get more assists and steals. Wow, if Damian Lillard has it going, but he's obviously a must roster. And you look at that, Yusuf Nurkic, 35 minutes, 20 points, 17 rebounds, and still, I would use this to sell high, to be honest. Yusuf Nurkic is a little bit inconsistent. He had a lot of hype last year, second round pick, end up just playing like shit. So we'll see. If Portland is competitive this year, that's really good for all the players on the squad. So we'll see. But a little bit sell high. If you can get a top 40 player for Jokic, and again, it depends because they give different stats, yeah. But Jokic, we know what he can do. He can grab rebounds, sure. He's a good, somewhat efficient guy, and hit free throws and steals and blocks. He can get a block shot as well. Josh Hart and Jeremy Grant, they're much roster players, but Jeremy Grant is not what he used to be on the Pistons. So roster them, but also try to sell high if they go off. And that's it for all the games, guys. I'll see you next time.